Hello and welcome to Friday evening's Ask Sid, where you, the general public and Tottenham fans, can ask me anything you want to a certain point and I will try and get you an answer. Talking of which, today is all about Dele Alli. Whether you love him or hate him, obviously everyone thinks I love him. I don't love him. I just think he's not being played in the right position. And we will discuss that. Joining me today, I have Jack. Good evening, Jack. How are you?
Keeping well, Sid. Keeping well. I'm actually, especially with Dele Alli as the topic, that just a little shivers through me. It's a controversial one. I'm excited for it, though. I feel also a bit prepared for it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, this is the reason why I picked this topic this week, because we've done Ndombele, but today I thought, you know what, let me do Dele Alli, because there's a lot of people out there. They either, like I said to you, he's like Marmite, isn't he? Do they love him? Do they hate him?
Yeah.
Now, I've got my own general opinion on him. For everyone watching, everyone joining, thank you for joining us today. Can I just reiterate, this is all opinions of our own. This doesn't reflect what we actually think of them in real life, how they play in real life. This is just purely based on our opinions, and everyone's got an opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinions, and we're just going to air them. And if anybody else has got anything to say about Dele Alli, then put it in the comments box and we will discuss it. So what, as the topic says, should Ali be number 10 or where should he be playing? What's your take on that, Jack?
My initial thoughts are, if we didn't have such a plethora of number 10s, so many number 10s to choose from, I would say that is his real position. I think that is maybe his best position, but there's probably a reason why he's this summer has been really working on himself to be more of like a box to box kind of player. And that's probably because he's been promised, not to be that number 10 anymore. Maybe, Nuno or whoever said to him, listen, if you really want to get into the squad a lot more often, you can't be such a catered to, player. You have to find maybe another position. And also most world-class footballers do really excel in another position, even though they might prefer one. It's good to also have another position. And what we've seen from Dele this year, despite I feel like the creative numbers dropping a lot and even his kind of just ability, I would say, has dropped a lot. I mean, I would say whatever workout routines he was doing this summer, I think have really worked out, actually. I think they look really strong. I think he has the most distance covered of any of our players, also has the most pressures of any of our players as well, has lots of tackles, lots of blocks. So he's actually kind of learning to get stuck in, which I would say, as most Spurs fans would be happy to see. But yeah, I guess we'll find out whether his true position is the number 10, but I think he's learning a new position at the moment, and I'm kind of happy with it.
Yeah. I think the problem is everyone's so used to seeing the Dele Alli of 16-17 season where he was playing behind Harry Kane, and Eriksen was the focal anchor point, and he was like getting the balls were coming in and he was helping Harry Kane.
Right.
And he was getting the knock-ons.
Yeah.
And he was threading the balls through to him, and he was sort of like the anchorman kind of player for Harry Kane to float off. This is, even when Son was playing on the left, but he was there. Now, for some reason, under Mourinho, he dipped form. Now, that was probably at a time when a certain game called Fortnite came out, and he almost instantaneously became a Fortniter. And every night till 2-3 o'clock in the morning, he was playing Fortnite, and he started doing all these stupid Fortnite moves and celebrations, and that affected him and Dyer. Because do you remember how close knit him and Dyer were?
I didn't actually. You're actually just popped a seed in my brain there. Actually, I totally forgot that they were kind of buddies, and they had that connection. You're right.
Yeah.
Go on. Yeah,
they had that proper connection where they were like doing little silly videos. Celebrations after the games, they were always together. They were always bantering each other up on Twitter, Snapchat, everything and anything. And then Mourinho came in, and I don't know what happened to Dele then. He sort of lost his way a little bit.
Didn't we even
Now,
see a spat in the documentary as well, like between
that's
Dyer?
right.
This is where you pop
Yeah,
that seed in my brain, because
yeah, that's right.
that argument that they had, you're right, was kind of like an argument between friends. Like even the tone
Yeah,
of the voice, it was like they knew each other really well, because
yeah.
like Eric Dyer was kind of taking out his own frustrations at Dele. But like, would really any other player do that when you see a player, you know, throw his boots on the ground, or, you know, kind of just complain and pout and whatnot? It's like the way Eric Dyer was talking to him would be like how you would talk to your best friend, or how you would talk to, you know, like somebody that you know really well, not just, you know, another teammate or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Totally agree with you. And that friendship or the relationship seems to have disappeared, and it looks like even on the pitch, you know, like little bit of general banter or smiling at each other, and all that seems to have gone. Dele seems to have found a new partner in Bergwijn, by the looks of it, and the Dyer relationship seems to have disappeared. Now, I don't know if that and staying up all night, and then obviously he had that issue with his girlfriend, and then he had that robbery as well, didn't he? Where he got robbed.
Yeah.
His house got robbed, and then he just sort of, then his family issues came up where he changed his name from Dele Alli to just Dele. Mourinho coming in didn't help him, and then in that documentary where they've had that 1-to-1 when he said, "Dele, mate, at the end of the day, you're better than what you are, but you're lazy," and I think that killed him, didn't it? That absolutely killed him.
It
Mourinho
would
was
kill
right.
a lot of players, especially when you consider, right, Dele was trying to, while maybe playing Fortnite, like you were saying, but he was trying to rekindle that form from before. And, you know, I don't want to stop you here, Sid, because I feel like you're on a roll right now. Honestly, you're enlightening me on all these things about Dele and Dyer, especially. But I would say maybe something we could get onto, so because I don't want to stop you in your role right now.
No,
But
fine.
I was going to say, do you feel like Dele, maybe an Ask Sid moment, do you feel like Dele is actually the reason why he's moving to this box-to-box kind of roles, because he's lost that pace? He used to have that pace from those knock-ons that you were talking about when he and Harry Kane would switch each other. It was almost like Griezmann used to do that, you know, too, with strikers past. You know, he used to kind of run off the striker, just play that interesting kind of like off the striker kind of role. And I feel like maybe the reason he's no longer playing that really specific role is because he's lost a bit of pace, lost a bit of, I don't know. What do you think? Has he lost pace, I guess, maybe simply is what I'm asking.
He has lost the pace, but I think what's happened with him is that last season, 2 seasons, I don't think he's been fit enough. I don't think he's been as fit. I mean, look at the videos in the last couple of months. I've never seen Dele train like that, and his muscles and everything.
He looks huge up top.
Yeah,
he looks huge.
Exactly. He looks huge. And you know he's trying, and his fitness levels is trying. Now, whether it's clicked to his head, and I think Jose said that to him last year, and I wonder if Nuno said to him, "Mate, we want the Dele back 2-3 seasons ago. And in order for you to do that, you need to lose that weight and you need to be fitter." Even now, when he's playing on the wings, I mean, you nailed it before when you said he's got one of the highest work rate in all the games, like 11 kilometers, 12 kilometers average in every game.
It's like Thomas Muller or something, you know, running around like a fly, you know.
Exactly. But for me, 60-70% of the time, even I'd go as far as 75% of the time, he's doing the running in the wrong box. He's going in our half, defending.
Yeah.
He's not going forward where we want him to be, attacking and getting that link with Son, Kane, and scoring goals. I mean, I'll show you this. I've got my boy to do this. I'll show you the stats since we've got him. I don't know if you can see this on your screen.
Maybe go one to the back.
Can you see that?
I think it's in the blank screen, but maybe you just click one to the left, or I think you had it that one time. Maybe you click one to the left or something.
Right, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah. So 15-16 season, 33 appearances. He had 10 goals and 9 assists.
That's ridiculous.
Season after, that's, you know what, that's phenomenal. But then the next season, 16-17, 37 appearances, 18 goals, 7 assists. Now, if I'm correct, wasn't he the top scoring midfielder, and he even beat Frank Lampard and all them lots record for the most amount of goals?
Even just to stop you there, I would say, like, we're kind of, people say Bruno Fernandes, right, in the moment is, you know, one of these players that, you know, these type of numbers, what we saw from that 16-17 season are kind of Bruno Fernandes numbers, I would say, where it's like, you know, he's banging in the goals, almost practically, you might even say someone you might even depend on, you know, for goals from the midfield or even from that second striker, like we said before with Dele, and then also came out with a lot of assists. And it's just maybe, I don't know. It's kind of like why he was so highly rated, Sid, is because a young England international producing Bruno Fernandes numbers at that age, when you like, just ridiculous. Everybody thought he was going to be practically one of the best players in the world. And again, sometimes I feel like recently I've just come to accept, that we're looking at a different Dele, but this is why I feel like people want to hold on to what he did, because look at those numbers. I mean, Sid, that's, like I said, it's Bruno Fernandes, kind of numbers.
Yeah. I mean, even 17-18 season, 36 appearances, 9 goals, 10 assists. So that's 19 in total goals and assists. 18-19, this is where he sort of dipped, didn't he? 25, 5-3. And then last season, I mean, come on, 15 appearances. That was just Jose Mourinho not rating him. And we know there was a lot more issues going on. Not even 1 goal, and he had 1 assist. So to me, it seems like 15, 16, 17, 18, even 18, 19, even up to 19, 20, he was playing that favorite role of behind the striker, and that's where we got the best out of him. Last 2 seasons, it seems now we're not getting the best out of him because we're not playing him in the positions, and losing Eriksen as well is a massive problem for us. But we've got Ndombele, we've got Lo Celso. Well, I'm not even going to mention his name. Sorry, I apologize everyone if I mentioned number 18. We got Dele, we got Ndombele, we got Hill coming in now as well. So I personally think now is the time to start playing Alli back to his positions of the previous 3-4 seasons. That's my personal opinion.
You're saying kind of maybe we just have to accept a new Dele, more or less, is maybe what you're kind of saying. Is just like Dele just has to evolve, I guess, to a degree.
Yeah. He's got, you either evolve him, but the problem we've got is if you play him on the right and on the left, right, you've got Son, you've got Bergwijn, you've got Mora. And we know he hasn't got the pace to do that, right? So why not try and incorporate him like Wednesday, where we played that 4-2-3-1 system, and try and play him in that middle of that 3, but just behind Harry Kane.
I guess in the case of that, though, where I think all of us been crying out loud, practically for that 4-2-3-1, where, Skippy is a bit more holding. Højbjerg can still launch forward a bit, at times, but it feels like that person that holds that, I guess to a degree, it's that number 10. The case of Dele is, if you were to put him there, yes, he would be able to track back. Yes, he would be able to do almost a box-to-box number 10 role, which is, very, very useful, I would say, a box-to-box number 10. But my kind of hesitance is just, he's one of the most dispossessed players on our team. Even this season, he's still one of the most dispossessed players. He gives up the ball a lot. And if you were to give him then the number 10 role, while being one of those guys that, of course he has the flicks and the tricks, but it seems like compared to maybe players like Tanguy or even Brian Hill, you might say, I would say his, how do you say, is it like proficiency or efficiency, to pull off those flicks and tricks, to pull off, that ball in behind or that dink over the top. It seems like he's kind of, I don't know if he's lost it in his game. He's just kind of getting outperformed by other players in the squad in that department. So that's maybe why I think he would be a really good number 10, but is he the best one, I guess, is the question, right? And so that's why I would say it really does come down to, if you were to compare Tanguy and him in that number 10 department, yes, Dele offers you a million times more work rate, but how about the end product at the end of the day? Which one's going to have better end product? And for me, it's going to be Tanguy, but I think that's where the debate will, further go.
It will, because if you watch Tanguy the other day, although he scored the first goal, the 2 goals they
directly
scored,
sabotaged for the, for the other 2.
You know what I mean? And as much as I totally agree with you, I personally think Tanguy loses the ball a lot more than Dele does. That's from what I've seen. I mean, even on Wednesday, he lost a lot of. Just like to wish everyone who's come on, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate everyone watching. I've got a comment here from Eddie Ryan. I would drop Dele and move Ndombele up and Lo Celso in his proper position. Now,
what is a Lo Celso proper position though at this rate?
I was going to say Lo Celso is a different conversation on another day, because I don't know what that guy does. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if you have an answer for that. I don't know what Lo Celso brings to the team. Okay, everyone's saying put him in his proper position. We've had him for almost 2.5, 3 years. Still don't know what his position is. And for me, when he plays like on Wednesday again, even against Chelsea, if he loses the ball, he's got no intentions of getting back to get that ball back.
Yeah.
So
I just think in Gio's case, he's just starting to become a bit confusing, where you kind of thought he was somebody that held on to the ball, well, would kind of keep possession well, recycle possession well. And it's not really been the case. I mean, we've seen a few, kind of almost memes at this rate of him dribbling it out of bounds, passing it out of bounds, or, at times just giving up the ball in situations where you're kind of like, no one should be losing the ball in these situations as well. I would say sometimes, I wouldn't go as far to say a bit of a Harry Winks, but I would say there are also times when he's just doing sideways passes, of just trying to, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a bit of that South American kind of style where you just want to do kind of 1-2s between each other and stuff. But sometimes he'll do that where he'll just sit right next to a player and just play 1-2s back and forth when we're maybe 1-0 down, 2-0 down at times. That stuff actually infuriates me with him. But maybe just to finish it on Gio, to give you a real answer, I'm starting, and it's hard to say this, but I'm starting to be confused of what a Gio Lo Celso even is at this rate. I just don't know what his best position is. He's clearly not maybe fast enough or pacey enough or rapid enough to be able to play that right wing that he's been playing. He's also doesn't have enough end product, coming out from there either. He seems to have even lost that ability to shoot it from outside the box, because it felt like before when we had him, he would like to take those cracks from distance, but now he's not doing it at all. And it just is, I don't know, it's just right. What is a Gio Lo Celso at this rate? And
this is going to be an Ask Sid coming soon about Gio Lo Celso. Who are you? But good evening, Dinosaur. So here, Dele's favourite player is Steven Gerrard. Son made a better connection with Kane, but Dele needs to be further forward in and around Kane. I agree with that, because like I said before, when he was playing around Kane, that they had that connection, didn't they? I mean, Eddie says here as well, he used to have a good understanding with Kane, but seems to have gone, as well as he's not getting into that scoring position now. Again, that's true. Both of them are off form. Dele's playing in a different position, so he's not allowed to get to that position. So this is the whole idea of us sit today is, should Nuno now actually try and embed him into that position?
Right.
We all know what the understanding between him and Kane was last couple of seasons. It was phenomenal. It was like what Son and Kane have. The telepathy between them two was brilliant, and that brought Dele into it. But it's one of them, isn't it? With Dele, it's a debate many people will have over many days, maybe many months,
and nights,
and we still won't come to a resolution. Everybody, I think, will have to agree to disagree, because everyone thinks I love Dele Alli. I don't love the guy. I mean, it's just I want the Dele Alli that we had a couple of seasons ago. I know it's still in him. If we get that right manager and he sits down with him and says to him like Jose Mourinho did on Amazon, listen, mate, please just come back, the real Dele Alli. If it's not in you, then, we'll sell you. But if we get the real Dele, then, we'll be on to a winner.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree in that case. I would just say that, and it's just, it's funny with Dele's case is that I feel like maybe I don't know, Sid, maybe again, it's another, Ask Sid moment, I guess, with what I'm about to say, but do you feel like maybe Dele's just realizing that if he wants to play this super, specific, almost unique position, right, which is playing off the striker, which is, playing off of Harry Kane in such a way, do you feel like if he wants to play more, if he wants to be able to make the starting 11 more, he had to do what he has done this offseason, which is increase the stamina, increase the strength, the box to box ability and whatnot. I feel like maybe that's what he's doing, is he probably wants to play that position we're talking about right now, but maybe he's now realizing in order for me to even make the starting 11, I need to be able to, increase my fitness, and almost to a degree, right? That's why he's probably getting picked over Tanguy a bit more often. It's just because we know that his fitness is stronger. We know that he's even just stronger in general, and being able to win the ball back and whatnot, put on pressures. And maybe over time, that kind of creative, productive Dele in terms of assists or goals will come through. But at the moment, I think Dele's just trying to get back into the team. And maybe that's what he was just doing this summer, is he was just thinking, maybe if I've lost a bit of that ability, maybe if I've lost a bit of that, technical skill, I can make up for it with, having a bit more of a robust, industrious kind of, ability in nature, which I would say Dele only had because, maybe Sid, you might agree with me, but during the time when Dele, is at his best, that's kind of those moments when we're in the best shape of our lives, and you can kind of run forever and whatnot. And I feel like then, like you said, I don't know if the fortnight definitely played a part, but just he got a bit older and he started to lose some of those physical attributes that we probably took for granted, back then. And it just seems like he's now realizing, in order for me to make the squad and make the 11, especially a Nuno 11, he needs to be in the best shape of his life again. And that's what he's probably done this summer. And hopefully, he can then translate that to being a bit more productive, a bit more efficient in goals and assists. But I think it's almost like an existential crisis for him, right? Where he's just like, how do I get back into the team? How do I get back into the 11 consistently? And I think that's why he's getting picked over Tanguy every time, despite Tanguy, in my opinion, being a bit more creative, a bit more that magical ability. Tanguy doesn't have, the willingness or the fitness to a degree. I think it's not even fitness. I think it's just willingness. He just doesn't want to get stuck in like maybe Dele does. And I think that's where Dele is winning over him. And will he play that number 10 ahead of Tanguy? I really doubt it. But you could also then see maybe he's going to be winning, at least the starting position over Tanguy, over Gio, or even others, every time, just because he can now do a variety of positions, you might say.
Yeah. And probably Nuno can then rely on him as well. I mean, Sean Snow here saying Tanguy should be on number 10. I've said this before. We need to lay out. See, even if they do that combination, Sean, good question or comment. Dele and Tanguy, if it's not happening, they can always switch it. Dele can then drop as a 10 and Ndombele can then switch with him. So that in theory can work because you've got two players being able to play the number 8 and the number 10, and if one's not working, then you just swap them over and give the other one a shot, and that will also give the other players a kick up the arse. And I think Kuve is saying here, the sprightly attacking Dele is gone forever. The only evolution he can do is deeper midfield positions where he can throw that extra muscle about, but we already have players to do that. Again, he's got that extra muscle, but for me, if you're going to play him as a whole, well, not as a main midfielder, then you've got Skip, you've already got Højbjerg. It's the problem is with him, if you play him there, then you're taking away one of the two defensive midfielders that we've got. So I would agree. I don't think we could play him as, I can't see him playing with Højbjerg or with Skip together, like one either him and Højbjerg, him and Skip, because Dele sometimes, like you said before, he can become little bit lazy and his passing can be a little bit lethargic. But
I just don't think he has that. I think he's trying to learn it, but it's not like it really was there before. He just doesn't have maybe what those kind of central midfielders all have, which is kind of that timing, that mental clock. How long have I been on the ball here? Is there somebody closing me down? Even knowing what to do before you receive the ball, knowing what to do, as you're about to make that pass, what dangers are there. I feel like in Dele's case, in my opinion, he's just kind of learning that for the first time. He used to be, like we're saying this whole time, he used to be that number 10 where he always had someone on his back. He always had someone that he had to flick it around, someone to try to meg and maybe, play to Harry Kane and then run off of him. And now he's receiving the ball in positions that, like a Luka Modric would have received it in, a Moussa Dembele would have received it in, where you have to actually turn and face the field, which just takes a lot of bravery, I will say, and then be able to find that pass that opens up the defense. And obviously players like Skippy and Højbjerg, they've been training to do that their whole lives. Those are the positions they've always been playing. And it's almost like Dele is learning maybe some of these skills for the first time. Of course, only I know so much about, maybe what Nuno's trying to instruct, but that's what it appears to me, is that he's actually trying to learn how to play like a number 8. He's kind of learning how to play like, someone that will develop the tempo, develop the play, because as much as we loved Dele during those seasons that, you showed the great stats for, he wasn't that tempo setter. Christian Eriksen or Moussa Dembele or other players were that tempo setter for us. And he certainly was not. Now he's having to learn. I think he's accomplished this box to box, industrious ability. He's honestly knocked it out of the park, I would say, in that regard. But does he have the, number 8 tempo setter, kind of dictating the tempo, dictating the play, controlling games like ability? I think he's learning it, at the moment.
Yeah, he's learning it. I think he's learning a lot at the moment under Nuno. And I think Nuno trusts him more than Lo Celso, in the sense where he's playing him on the right, he's playing him in the middle, he's playing him as a number 10, number 8. Paul always Spurs is saying, is the team really set up for anyone to play a number 10 role and be effective? I think it can be, if it's set up the right way and you play the right number 10. I think we can play like that with Kane up top and a number 10 behind him. I personally think it can be effective. Not every time, not every game, but I think certain games, certain teams, I think it's possible.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. And actually, and my response to Paul would be, yeah, maybe the whole era, or even just that notion of having a number 10 is maybe kind of losing in translation, I would say, or even just kind of outgrowing, maybe modern football. Maybe modern football is kind of taking over the number 10, and modern football is asking for, the number 10 to do more than just being that creative role, being more than just being that person that, can maybe spark something out of nothing. Now the number 10 is expected to track back, is expected to be part of the defense, is expected to also carry the ball forward and whatnot. So I think, Paul, to a degree, you're probably right. But then again, I would say we have Brian Hill. Gio Lo Celso is technically also supposed to be sort of a number 10 as well. We have Tanguy as a number 10, and we have Dele as supposedly a number 10. Maybe even in years past too, or not in years past, last season as well. Lucas played to a degree as a number 10 for us. Yeah. Of course, maybe now I feel like, Paul, I would agree with you. The number 10 is kind of being lost in translation, or is not really exactly the number 10 that it used to be when we used to watch. But I would say we actually have a plethora of number 10s, and it's just maybe finding the right combination in order to suit them. But you also might be right. Do we even need to, suit to one of them? Maybe we just have to find what is the best trio, or what is the best, four-man midfield.
For them, yeah. I mean, I've got 2 comments here from Wayne. Good evening, Wayne. Thank you for joining us. First one is, Dele has now the fitness levels of a box-to-box midfielder, like he used to at MK Dons. He will start this Sunday. I don't think we've seen the box-to-box of Dele Alli doing that for the last, I think, couple of seasons, haven't we? I think this season he seems to be doing a hell of a lot more. And it's like what you're saying, Jack. His fitness levels have gone up. He seems to have concentrated a lot more on his fitness. And I think that's why, like you said before, I think one of the reasons Nuno trusts him is because he knows he's got that stamina to last the full 85, 90 minutes from box to box on the wing. And he can do that. So, yeah, he's box to box. But then do we really need him as a box to box player? I don't want him in the box, because the other day, again, was it Chelsea? The corner? It was him, weren't he?
In Dele's case, or just against Wolves the other day for Tanguy, you're saying?
No, Dele. Dele was marking. Yeah, Dele was marking Silva against Chelsea, weren't he?
Right. Yeah.
So he lost his
marker. And he didn't jump either.
That's right.
We've had 2 situations of corners, really horrible corner defending. So I actually had a bit of almost like deja vu there, where I was just like, wow, that's happened to us twice now this week.
Exactly. Yeah. And Wayne's second comment here, what do you think of this one? Having no more Toby long ball is why Dele ain't making the runs in the box. We have no one to do that right now. Romero, I can see when he settles. Do you think that's a factor as well?
I feel like the Toby long balls is kind of, I think in the past it used to be a huge factor and used to be a huge thing. But if you really look into Toby's stats from last season, I would say he actually wasn't as great at the long, pinging passers. Maybe we would like to, think he was. Of course, there'd be plenty of moments when Toby would ping it and you'd be like, wow, that is Toby ping, right there. But if you really look into the stats, he actually really wasn't that accurate, when it came to it. He actually missed plenty of them and actually would either hit it over their head or just simply miss them at times. And I would actually say that's kind of not why we replaced Toby. I don't think we should have really gotten rid of Toby, but
yeah,
it's a bit, I just feel like, his ping ability, at least last season, if you just take last season into mind, was a bit overrated. And I think that's why we actually went for somebody like Romero, who in fact had much better passing statistics than he ever did last season in the Serie A. As well, it seems like Davinson Sanchez all of a sudden has now just pulled that out of his bag as well as, found the ability to ping it too. So And even Eric Dyer, as much as I really hate to say it, also has a bit of that pinging ability. So
Yeah.
I think Toby, as great as he was, and as much as he was practically next to Jan, one of our best center backs in the last 10 years, of course, I think if you were looking at last season, I think we've actually had plenty of players that can replace that ping ability. And I think the stats would kind of back me up on that. But I can also see why, the way Toby would do it sometimes, you would kind of be like, yeah, no one else in the squad can do it like Toby can. But this is the thing. If you really then were to look at how many times he did it successfully last season, wasn't that impressive.
No, that's right. But again, I think on that one as well is a lot of the times he was doing that, but I think Kane wasn't in his position. Dele definitely wasn't playing anyway. So that's 2 factors straight away we've lost.
To the people he used to ping it to. Yeah,
exactly.
You're right.
And if you're Toby, you're looking up and you're thinking, right,
where did they all go?
Where they gone? Exactly. And then it got to that stage, like you're saying, they were just pinging it and it was like no man's land. And then you're like, Toby's got it wrong. He hasn't got it wrong. It was just Toby automatically thought my 2 men are there. And they weren't. But so my question to you is, do you think, did you watch the game on Wednesday?
Yeah.
What did you think of Dele's performance? Did you think we sort of saw an insight into maybe Dele doing that role, not the number 10 role, but helping Harry Kane, because that pass he put through for Harry Kane was a delicious pass.
It was.
So, and he did more in that game than I've seen all season in and around the box. And there was that one instant when he nearly scored. I think he tried to take it around the keeper, didn't he? But I think the ball got ahead of him. And there were a few instances as well. So do you think on Sunday or in the next couple of weeks, Nuno will now try and play him in that position? Or do you think he's still going to use him as a wingman, considering we got Moura and Bergwijn coming back?
Yeah. It's really hard. That's a really great question, Sid. At least he was playing on the right side, and the majority of the time he's been playing on the left. And being on the left as a right-footed player, every time he's had to be able to cut inside and then try to thread that ball through, which, other players are a bit better at it. Maybe Gio, you might say, just because he's left-footed, find that a bit easier. In Tanguy's case, Tanguy just always seems to be able to have lots of time on the ball compared to Dele. Can turn quicker. He can just find those passes a bit sooner than Dele can. But at the same time, that pass that he threaded through to Harry Kane, I think it was a first-time pass as well. I think he hit it on the first time. Also on the floor. He didn't even, dink it over at all. He hit it on the floor as well. So it was a really, really, really beautiful pass. But then again, I would say Højbjerg has been doing almost that all season as well from that right side. Højbjerg he has, I think, the most through balls in our team, has actually some of the most shot creating actions in our team, Højbjerg. So it seems like that right-hand side, weirdly, has been a very creative kind of threshold for us. And could he then, maybe the question is, will he not replace Højbjerg? Can he fill in for Højbjerg in that role of being that box-to-box defensive midfielder on the right-hand side of our attack? I think Dele can. I think he was very successful at it, against Wolves. And then as well, I think what Dele is, I think, again, the reason he's in such great shape is so that when Tanguy gets tired or when Gio, again, has another unremarkable performance, he can then fill in for someone else. Even if it's not his best position, even if it's not maybe what Dele prefers, it allows Dele just to continue to play and be able to be on the field. And I think that's what maybe Nuno is probably going for. I think he's just realizing that it's not that Dele is undroppable by any means, but he can actually fill in for other players while other players can't fill in for each other. Tanguy can't really fill in for anybody. He has his own unique position. He has his own unique ability. Whereas Dele, he can't do anything that really Tanguy can to the same effect, but he can do a version of it. He can do a decent version of it, in fact. And so I think that's what Dele's realizing is, why not be able to be fit enough and then maybe rekindle that confidence and that form to be able to play a variety of positions? Because he was playing Højbjerg's position while Skip was playing the position Skip always has, playing that holding midfield, destroyer position. And then Dele was playing the position Højbjerg has. And then in another game, he might play the position that Tanguy does, Dele. So maybe that's what it is. It's just Dele's just trying to find a way to be able to play everybody's position or even be the backup for everybody.
Yeah, but the problem, I know there's a lot of Dele haters out there, and there's a lot of fans that don't want Dele playing. They'd rather see Lo Celso in there. I think they wanted Tanguy playing. Now they've got their wish with Tanguy, but is it now a situation where Dele probably in his mind is thinking what you've just said, Jack? Do you know what? I don't care now what position I've got. I don't want to play in a certain position. I just want to play. I'll play.
Just want to be on the field.
I just want to be on the field. But if you was in his position, would you want that kind of an attitude, or would you want an actual position where you want to be great at that position, not get put right back, right mid, left mid, centre mid, and every week you're chopping and changing. You haven't got a great position. Therefore, you're not playing brilliantly. You're doing your bit. I think a couple of people have already said in this comment where he's just turning up and he's just making up the numbers, playing stamina-wise because he's fit. Deep down, don't you think he just wants to cement a certain position and just play in that position rather than just get moved around?
He probably does, but then this is kind of what frustrated me about. I wasn't really a huge Dele fan, over the last 2 seasons. I kind of really fell out of love with him, like pretty hard, actually fell out of love with him. And I think that's what even a lot of the Dele fans were kind of, I would say, kind of irritating me, was just because they kept saying, oh, you have to play him in this super unique position, this super unique role. And it's like, well, managers have tried to do that, and he didn't step up when he was given that opportunity. And that's kind of how it works, especially for a club like ours. It's not like you really get, weeks and weeks or months and months, to be able to play such a unique catered position and not produce anything. When you're not producing anything, they're going to have to, replace you with someone else, or they're going to have to find a new role for you. And I think in Dele's case, I never thought or even imagined that he would, over the summer, transform himself in the way that he has this season to become this especially in shape, industrious player. And that's, I think, what most of the people that were kind of not Dele's fan were actually asking of him, is to say, like, listen, if you're not going to be the 16-17 Dele anymore, at least run for the club, at least try for the club, at least show that grit, that passion, even that nastiness that we knew Dele had in the past as well. And now that's coming back into it. And now I actually feel, if not neutral, I actually feel very positive about Dele because of that regard. Maybe it's not the old Dele that we knew as practically one of the best midfielders, center forwards, number 10s, whatever position he was in the world during that 16-17 season. But now we're just having to maybe come to terms with the fact that he's just evolving into something else, or trying to evolve into something else at least. And I can only actually applaud him for it, really, because if you want to stay at this club, or if you want to continue to play at the top level, then that's probably the adjustment you have to make. And I think we all didn't expect him to do it. We didn't think he would have the motivation, the mentality, the attitude to do it. And he actually has. So again, I'd actually applaud him for it. I really do. Because if you asked me last season, was Dele going to come back and, look like almost this, decathlon, athlete practically, turning into one of the most in shape players in our team, I would probably have laughed at you. I would never have thought he would have the motivation to do that. In fact, David and I were making fun of him for all of the workout videos. We all thought it was kind of for the Instagram, for the Fortnite fans and whatnot. And he proved us wrong. He proved us wrong entirely. So I'm actually quite happy with maybe what he's done. I'm actually very happy with how he's, turned into this sort of different player, different, even, I would say, physical shape even.
Yeah. I mean, I think Paul, again, he's saying Dele needs space to perform. He's best placed in the middle of the pitch, number 10/8, where he can spot movement. So Dele, much like most of the squad, are falling or are failing as a consequence of poor movements high up. That's true.
Good point, Paul.
Yeah, very good point. Paul's made some good points today. I think, we were spoiled with Dele when he first came, and that first season and second season that he had. I think we got spoiled with the goals and the assists, and unfortunate for him, at a young age, there was a lot of responsibility, and people then, like you said before at the beginning, people said, oh, he's got into the England squad. He's one of the best youngsters to come through. He's broken Lampard's record. He's done this at Gerrard's age. He's outpassed them, outscored them, everything in terms of goals and assists. To carry on doing that season after season, you're going to get older and you're going to get mature. You're going to get managers coming in that don't like you. Mourinho being one of the prime examples. And then if you don't fit their style of play, or if you think he's lazy and then you put it out to public on an Amazon program, that's just going to absolutely kill a player. And Now what you're saying, I totally agree. He's now, I think, realised, and I personally think Nuno's had a word with him and said, look, this is the score, mate. This is what's happened. Look at you. This is how you was. Look at you now. It's either do or die now for you. Spurs fans are mixed. They've had enough or they haven't. But now you're on that brink where it's breaking point. And if you don't deliver this season, you're finished. And the fans will get on your back and you will never see this club again. So I think he's gone in the summer and he's just thought, do you know what? I've not gone into the England squad. This is now my best time. Drown everything, forget everything, get back to my fitness levels, show everyone how fit I am, what I'm doing, stamina, fitness, everything. And then rather than being an individual, I'm now going to become a team player and I'm going to play for the team in any position they want me to. And I think,
do you feel like he, maybe forgive this reference, but shoot me down if it's wrong. Do you feel like to a degree he used to play actually as when he was younger, he used to play almost like the position that Wayne Rooney kind of would. It's like to a degree, this very industrious, nasty kind of, off the striker, number 10, number 8 role, like Paul was saying. And then maybe what we just explained, is like during kind of the Fortnite era, during that time when he was kind of being outcasted and whatnot by managers, he actually didn't take advantage of maybe staying in shape and staying physical and being in the best physical shape like maybe Rooney had. And then now he's actually to a degree Wayne Rooneying himself now to be able to be that physical, industrious player and then hopefully return to the position that everybody wants him to play, which is that 16-17 position. But in order for him to do that, he needs to bulk himself up. He needs to be this player that can play a variety of positions to a degree like Wayne Rooney did, or even like Steven Gerrard did, and maybe that's what he's like. It's like evolving. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. The only issue was with Wayne Rooney was towards the end of his career, weren't it? When he was Dele's 20,
became a bit wider.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas Dele's younger, he's got a hell of a lot more years ahead of him.
A lot more time.
I think he's learning, or he's learnt from other players, Wayne Rooney, for example. And I think now he's been given that leash of life, and I think he's taking it by the scruff of the neck. And hopefully he'll win the Spurs fans over. If he puts in the performances he has been doing, well, Wednesday he done well. If he has a massive performance and a goal on Sunday, I think that will be a massive step forward as well for him.
Oh yeah. Especially, I would say, even when he won that penalty against Wolves, that run that he made in the box, I kind of just thought, yes, this is, exactly what we wanted to be seeing from Dele, him, getting stuck in on one side of the pitch and then making the run all the way on the other side of the pitch, doing that beautiful leg, I don't know what term you do for leaving the leg, out there like that in the way that he did. I just thought, this is exactly what we want to see from Dele, because this is how you get in the squad week in, week out. Maybe the last few matches before the Wolves match, we kind of weren't seeing that anymore. We were kind of seeing him just weirdly, like you even said, like he was playing left wing, playing a creative role, and he wanted to, track back and get stuck in. We were kind of like, no, you're supposed to be further forward. You're supposed to be, helping out, Harry Kane and whatnot. And maybe now he's just learning to do something a bit, I don't know. It's like, he's just learning it like a different role. He's just learning that, in order for me to in some way rekindle the form from 16-17, he just needs to find a different way of attacking, a different way of being a different type of player to a degree. I agree with you. I think if he were to score against Arsenal, maybe in the way that he got that penalty against Wolves, or if he were to create something like he did against Wolves, he created a lot of stuff for Harry Kane. I think we would all be absolutely delighted. We'd be saying, yes, we want Dele in the squad, whether it's box to box, whether it's number 10, keep him in there. So I think you're right. If he scored on Sunday or got an assist or created something in some way, I think everybody would say this guy's an instant name in the 11.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, finishing off now, Eddie Ryan's, I think he's somebody up here. He seems to have lost that attitude he was so good at. And even Eddie loved it, where he would do what he had to do and then take the piss. That Dele, we knew he'd get stuck in and then he'd have that little wind up where he'd take the pee out of the other players and whatever. And that used to wind the other players up. And Tottenham fans used to love that. We sort of lost that Dele, that kind of attitude a little bit. I mean, if he brings that on Sunday, that attitude and the Dele that we knew a couple of seasons ago, where he got stuck in and then, he fought, and then he took the piss. I think we're on to a winner. One more comment. It's good comments, Jack. Perhaps Dele could come alive again at another club. There is an argument that he seems to have spent too long under the same regime.
That could be true, Paul.
That really could be true as well. But are we gonna get what we could have got 2 seasons ago on his prime? I mean, now we're not again. I don't think there's anyone that's going to pay that much. So wouldn't you try and keep him for that 1 season? See if we can sort of get a little bit of a Dele Alli back, or even drive his value up. I've said this before on Paxton Road. I've said it to the boys. I still think Dele can be made back, not to the levels that he was in the 16, 17, 17, 18 seasons, but I think we can bring him back to some kind of a decent level where at least, even if he gets 10 goals and a couple of assists, I think it's there. It's just someone just needs to slap him, wake him up and say, come on, mate. Come on, get on with it.
Definitely.
But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on tonight, Jack.
Appreciate it.
I know you're in the States. What time is it there now?
I'm in New York, so it's 3:21 at the moment, or 15:21 at the moment.
Wow. So you know what? Appreciate you coming on.
No, it's only PM. It's only PM. It's the afternoon. Yeah, it's the afternoon. Don't worry. I've already been up, for multiple, 8 hours at this rate. Believe me, Sid, this is actually a bit of it's almost like I don't even know how to say it. It's like a late lunch, kind of conversation here. I'm really enjoying it, especially on a Friday. We're getting close to even, 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock somewhere, 5 o'clock somewhere in the world too. So it's that nice little kind of late, discussion for both of us. Honestly, perfect time.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate it. Because obviously I ask Sid, we always try and get somebody on every week. And I thought, let's go abroad. Let's go to the States and get Jack in. But I've just got one final comment here. Don't agree there. A lot of Dele haters, even Spurs fans who will continue to slam Dele, even if he plays like a superstar, one of the most hated players in football.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I said to you at the beginning of the program, didn't I? He's like Marmite, isn't he? You're either going to hate him or love him. And even if you love him, you're going to hate him. So it's one of them where you're never going to satisfy every single Spurs fan. But then again, we are Tottenham fans. We are never, ever satisfied with what we get. We're spoiled. We're spoiled. We're never happy. We always want to hate someone even though we love them, don't we? And it's part and parcel of being a Tottenham Hotspur fan.
Certainly is. I would say in Dele's case, just, to demoralize, I feel like I used to be one. I actually originally thought I was one of those people, that no matter what Dele did, I would continue to, be. Once I made my decision, I fell out of love with him. I would stay out of love with him forever. But I would say with what he's done over the summer, and we kind of emphasize this a lot. So with what he's done over the summer, physically, the effort that he's putting in, the box to box nature, like we said a million times, it's actually the transition I wanted him to make, and he completed it, and he did it. And so now I'm actually quite positive about him. He's not really no longer my favorite player like he used to be, but I would say I have more than respect for him now. So Demorals, I really agree with you, but I've actually weirdly somehow made that transformation. And I would say I'm actually quite happy that I did, but I wasn't expecting to, a few months ago, believe that.
Yeah. So, like I said, thanks for everyone for tuning in tonight. Please like, subscribe, and share. We're almost up to 1,000. So just give us that final push. Share it to everyone. Just tell everyone all about us. I will give you a quick. Where's my thing gone? Yep. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, share. Leave your comments below for Sid asks or asks it every week. There's always something going on. I, for myself, will be hoping this weekend Dele at least contributes, and I want him to score 1 goal. And everyone that says Sid loves Dele, then maybe if you're all lucky, I might sing a Dele song on Sunday after the post match. And I'm sure Sam and Hotspur Hustler are watching this with their hands in the head saying, "Oh no, please don't." But you never know. On a final note, Jack, I'm going to ask you this question. What's your prediction for Sunday?
I've gone for a 1-0, and, people probably hate the sound of a 1-0, even hate the sight of a 1-0 at this rate for Spurs. But, we haven't had a win, at the Emirates since 2010 or whatever it was in that 3-2 comeback. So I think 1-0 it was already going to be a huge success. So I'm going 1-0 Sid, and maybe I'm going to go Dele Alli wins a pen. Dele wins a pen. Harry Kane puts it away. So let's go with that.
Wow. Sam will be absolutely delighted with you because he predicts 1-0 every single week.
It's my favorite one. It's because people hate a 1-0 and I love a 1-0. It's actually the one that, gets the blood flowing a bit. You kind of just still feel jazzed after it. It's like you stole something, like Cloak and Dagger kind of esque. So I love a 1-0.
My only concern is we've not won there for ages. But it is, oh look, Paul's just put, based on your optimism, Sid, I've just put Dele in my fantasy squad. There we go. You can thank me on Sunday for that. But yeah, we've not got a good record there. And you know what? I've always said when teams come to Spurs, teams haven't scored a goal, players haven't scored a goal. It always, when they come to Spurs, they do it, don't they? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's now go to the Emirates and let's actually go there and win. We've not won there since 2012, I think. So let's go out there. Come on, you Spurs. Let's get that win and Dele to shine.
Come on, Dele. Come on, you Spurs.
Absolutely. On that note, Jack, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, they can find me over at the Irish Hotspur. And then if they're actually maybe getting a bit sick of Spurs, maybe need a bit of a break from Spurs, they can find me over at, as it says down there, Flat Cap Euro Talk. In fact, if you're looking for a bit of that, I would say maybe ease, anxiety or nerves for the game tomorrow. David and I are doing a watch along where we're going to be watching Dortmund versus Borussia Mönchengladbach. So Holland playing another German team, Borussia Mönchengladbach. So if you're a bit of a Holland fan, why not just head on over there and you can have a little bit of a watch along with David and I before the game on Sunday.
Wicked. People, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, please give Jack a follow. And if you can, watch him on the watch along tomorrow. Top guy. Really appreciate you coming on as well. Give him a like, give him a subscribe as well, and please follow him as well. He's a top guy. Thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. And on that note, I shall love you and leave you. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. Take care.